side of the stage, speaking of respect, maybe a team that's lost a little bit so far this season, a team who we expect to be in grand finals, we expect to win tournaments. Maybe it's their time to start earning that respect back from the community. But this is going to be our series layout. We're starting off with a little bit of Oddball Recharge.
Absolutely. After that, Slayer on Streets, then Strongholds live fire, CTF Aquarius, and on Bazaar to the end. But here we are into game number 1. Several key players to watch in this series. It's Sentinels versus Pioneers. We're about to get underway.
We are indeed. Both teams with a perfect record so far in Pool D. Sentinels on one side of the stage and the hometown heroes in Pioneers on the other. We're underway here. Start up with Manny.
This will be the biggest test for these two teams. They are both 2-0 in pool play. One of these teams will exit this series with an undefeated record, and the KCP chant is loud in the room.
Oh, KCP, they've got the fans here in the arena, and they're going to give them maybe that little bit of an extra boost as we do get into this series. But there's a lot to talk about with players, with lineups, with game types, and one player we're going to focus on a little bit here, Andy, is the performance of LethuL in this series.
Absolutely. I think all eyes are on LethuL this entire weekend. Let's not forget, Druk now sneaking in, and it feels like every single KCP kill, you're going to hear this crowd getting loud.
We certainly are. SnakeBite now. A lot of talk about him on the desk after his fantastic performance in Anaheim. But the story at the start of this game, Andy, is kind of a little bit of a scrappy one. Finally, we're seeing a little bit of a setup start to formulate here for Pioneers. They have the ball in hand over at Pipes. Royal2 has fallen as well. So you would expect maybe a little bit of time on the board here for the Blue Squad.
That's right. And like we started to say, all eyes are really on LethuL this weekend. I think that's no secret, no surprise. Let's not forget an Anaheim lowest KD on that team, without a doubt. On the other side, though, you've got SnakeBite, as Tasha was alluding to. Enormous performance from him. 4th overall KD in that tournament. Pretty wild.
We're going to have to see if LethuL can perform today and across the weekend, if he can be the X factor for this team. Speaking of which, speaking of X factors, this man on your screen wants to remind everyone just what he can do on the main stage here in the Halo Championship Series. Frosty going to be trying to take down Druk, and will do so. That will take the charge rifle out of the hand. He's also got a sword. He's also got Manny in front of him. Decides not to engage. Didn't quite have the distance in front of him to get that lunge he was looking for.
Somehow nopes out of that. Gets good damage off the SoulSnipe as well, and that kill will even be traded out. So momentarily, 2 dead for each side, 18-4 in favor of Pioneers.
LethuL going to pick up 1 kill, which is going to allow SnakeBite to move into Pipes and have a little bit of a transitional setup here. But it looks like Pioneers have actually turned their attention away from the Oddball for a second to focus on picking up that next camo.
A bit of a rotate here coming in from Sentinels. You have to think the control rotates coming in, maybe just back elevator. SnakeBite, nice little lean, comfortably knows they have the positioning and the kills that they needed on the board. But here comes the Pioneers. Rotate comes in as well.
Yeah, it was comfortable for about a second there. As Pioneers do manage to get the break, they also have the camo, and they've also picked up the Oddball. Sentinels find themselves with 3 players in the respawn screen, and Taulek's going to have the ball in hand.
Druk, a player we are going to be highlighting throughout this series. He has some unbelievable stats across a few specific game types that we'll get into, but let's just say for now, this man knows how to deal the damage. Taulek, also the case for him. They will find themselves 3 dead off the back of that. Ball is played bottom middle once again. Looking
across the stats so far, and it seems to be SoulSnipe who's got the most kills on the Pioneers side, and it's going to be actually Frosty on the other side, who's 6 and 3. Speaking of that man, he has a shock rifle to play with. A little bit of a slender lead here for Pioneers at the start of this first round. With 3 minutes left, it's going to be up to Sentinels to make their way towards that Oddball and get it back in their hands.
You want to know how closely contested this match is off of the opening? Right now, it's 19-21 in favor of Slays, in favor of the Pioneers. Only 2 kills separating the two after several minutes of play.
First time we're seeing a little bit of a lead start to escalate for Pioneers here. Druk picks up 1 kill onto LethuL. Taulek doing a good job to sniff out Frosty as well, making sure he doesn't get away. The Oddball down for now, but back in the hands after picking up those kills. So now you're going to have Taulek with an opportunity to maybe hit some shots with this shock rifle. Royal2 gets taken down. Frosty and LethuL pushing through the gen, but Taulek certainly heating up LethuL shields for a few moments, just chipping away with that shot.
Look at the rotate though. Take a look at that ball, already rotated all the way out. It's a great rotate. The second you know they were staying alive bottom elevator, that, oh boy, sneaky nade off the doorway there for Frosty. Has to be careful of that. Will connect and grapple right in. Should be a play ball momentarily.
Play ball does come in. SoulSnipe will be taken down. 3-4 members of Pioneers are going to now fall as well. So this is the opportunity that Sentinels have been looking for. They have shock, they have camo, and if I wasn't mistaken as well, Frosty picked up that sword.
Let's see what they can do here. These next kills, the next openings are going to be huge. Royal2 the first to fall, so it's not going to be that easy for Sentinels. They need to be very careful in how they play this.
Frosty evens up the numbers. There's a beat down, and there's a kill going into the hands of SnakeBite as well. 3 dead once again for Pioneers. It looks like Sentinels have managed to flip the map here. They have control of pipes, but who has the oddball in their hands? Who's going to take that objective role? And it looks like SnakeBite's just trying to eject into the pipes instead.
Very nicely done there from SnakeBite. Even though they lost the first player, just like you say, they flip it. They managed to get the advantage off of that. Now they will continue scoring. They need to make sure they do not slip up here. Only 30 points away for the Pioneers in round 1.
Frosty pressurizing the respawners across the map from Pioneers. SnakeBite going to be pressurizing, but no! Taulek puts up the shield, the repulsor followed by the sword. SnakeBite thought he had a kill guaranteed on a plate, but no, Pioneers, they get 3 kills now off the back of it. And with only 15 points needed for the first round on the board, they're looking set up here at blue.
And here's the KCP chant, let's listen to it.
Druk added a little bit more salt into the wounds here of Sentinels at the end of this round, but still some work to do. Inside the tower now, Taulek got that commando rifle. He's going to be able to cough roll two. Has no idea he's there as well. He'll take him down to keep that pressure on. 15 points still needed though here for Pioneers.
I tell you what, I got chills. I have never heard a crowd react to every single kill on screen. Results in applause here. Amazing Kansas City home crowd for the Pioneers. Very rarely do you see this in Halo Esports. Only 15 points to go.
Ball in the hands here of Pioneers as well. LethuL going to be caught inside a turbine. SnakeBite going to be the player trying to pressurize that oddball and does manage to get it out of their hands. But for now, you got to remember the Pioneers have a huge advantage here on the map. They don't even have to think about that oddball. They just have to keep it out of the hands of Sentinels and run that clock down.
That's right. That's exactly what they're doing. Just over 60 seconds left on the clock. Shock rifle grab for Taulek. He will get away with it as well.
LethuL once again has no idea that Taulek's behind him. Druk. That's a teammate. Don't fire that rifle. There's the kill as well. And at the moment, Pioneer just controlling the pace almost too easily at this point.
Look at the confidence out of Taulek. Knows he has the help. Peeks for the 3rd time. Maybe feeling himself. 2 dead still for both sides.
SnakeBite's got the ball back to blue though. Where are the respawns coming in for Sentinels? LethuL gets traded out. 3 dead now. SnakeBite is the last player alive. LethuL going to win that important battle down bottom middle onto Manny as well. But the play ball is forced now. So still a few points needed here for Pioneers. And even though there's only 43 seconds left on that round clock, have to be careful the Sentinels don't pick up the wins in this team fight and get that ball back.
They know right now this is a numbers game. They just need to maintain composure, maintain presence on the map. Do not let yourself go 3 or 4 dead, and they should be able to close out the round. Right now, they're waiting for each other, waiting for help.
They need to wait for each other. A little bit of composure needed here from Pioneers. Can't let the adrenaline get hold of you too much, especially with the caliber of player that they're going up against and team. But LethuL going to fall. Now the push can come in from Pioneer. 64 points here for Sentinels. SnakeBite goes down. Frosty and SnakeBite pick up kills though, so Taulek's going to have to watch his back as LethuL is being sneaky and picks up that 4th kill.
Oh boy, 4 dead, 22 seconds on the clock, and the clock will stop here as the ball is held. This is dangerous territory. Pioneers have to have a very good push here off this next rush.
They certainly do, and Frosty has that shock rifle. 1 headshot here from Frosty can completely turn this round on its head. Camo going to be popping as well, but so is Frosty.
Doesn't get the repulsor jump he needed. That might have cost him his life here. Tie game at 89.
Taulek taken down. There's a beat down. Big moment here for SnakeBite. If he can turn this into a triple, then maybe Sentinels will live in this first round.
He might even play this down to Whirlpool. Great ball toss. Stays alive, and he rotates.
Amazing stuff here from SnakeBite in the final moments. He goes down though, but Sentinels go into a lead. 10 seconds left on the clock.
Not over.
The push comes in from Pioneers. Frosty gets the ball back, plays the ball, and Frosty's going mad.
Oh my God, that's a game-saving play from Frosty. Game-saving play. The time ticks down. Sentinels will win off of the Frosty camo play. It's unbelievable, and it will upset the hometown crowd in round number 1. My God.
And the calmest man in the room is the man on your screens right now. Bodies flying in front of him, knows that that round is in his hands. He plays it perfectly.
Oh my God. This crowd has been silenced. It's a 1v3. That game was over. Frosty converts with the camo back whack, then plays the ball down to bottom batteries. Unbelievable play here. Sentinels will take the first round.
Best part about all of this is the first round. We're into the second round of our board, our first map. And SoulSnipe now has the shock rifle. A moment of calm and a moment for everyone to catch their breath for just a few seconds, but it was a breathtaking play from Frosty that sends us into our round 2 with Sentinels 1 up.
Unbelievable. Cannot wait to watch that back. However, on the Pioneer side, they're in no rush to see that once again. They want to have a very different round number 2.
And the important thing here for Pioneers, find that composure. Reset a little bit here, and that's exactly what they're doing at the start of this game. SnakeBite, though, once again with a headshot. As soon as you're starting to feel comfortable, SnakeBite's going to bite, and it's going to make you feel a little bit spicy.
Look at that, does all the damage, doesn't even take, he hasn't taken any damage with the amount of damage he just dealt. Now he pops up, still hasn't taken damage. Fantastic work from SnakeBite in the back of the base.
Ball taken. Ball carrier.
3 dead here for Sentinels. 2 dead now as LethuL comes off respawn. SnakeBite just trying to survive and get into a position to help out a teammate. He's going to have the grapple, slaps that ball back into his hands, but there's going to be a sneaky Druk around the corner here he's going to have to deal with, but he does deal with him.
Seeing double here, SnakeBite just going to hold down on the bottom crates for a second. Will continue scoring as well. Now, how can Pioneers find the energy after a loss like that? That's a heartbreaking loss, not easy to deal with.
Not easy to deal with, but they do have the crowd behind them here, and that's certainly going to be almost the 5th member of the roster, so to speak, when it comes to it. Frosty's going to get that play on the sword, gets that one off the map, 27-13. Pioneers with somewhat of a lead here.
See what Druk can do. As we said, one of the most dangerous players in the league, leading in a few stat categories and specific game types in terms of being number 1 across the entire league. What can he and the squad do? 3 dead momentarily for Sentinels. Frosty is your last player alive in pipes. Let's go ahead and hear from the Pioneers as they look to rally back.
Yo, I'm gonna make it right now.
Okay.
I'm pushing C2. Yeah, C2 sir. Turbine. Top A. Bottom and top tower. Frosty, one shot top.
Bottom.
Yeah.
3.
Three, bottom A. Wait, he had him on the game then. He's still absolute. I snipe. Oh, okay.
Yeah, one's going right. One's hell. Go trippy corner.
Still hell on me.
What's up, dude?
One bullet hell. He's still hell. He grappled away.
I don't think there's a guy salad, by the way.
He grappled away to like top, I think.
Yo,
One's top A. Druk, I want to see. I want to see Bite to help you, dude. Druk, I'll put you. Druk, this guy back salad, LethuL. LethuL, don't jump back salad,
Man, I
Druk.
can help you kill this guy.
Alright, hit that. I got a man.
He's here, by the way, Druk. Nice. I'm looking for him.
I got a man. Bottom A weak. Bottom A one shot. Frosty.
I'll go Frosty.
Oh, he's shot weak. Nice. 4 dead, Druk. SnakeBite just won. SnakeBite one shot. SnakeBite.
I'm bringing ball back to me.
I'm living. I have to live, guys. I have to live.
I think there's a guy fucking bottom red, guys.
Yeah, bottom red. Go top red, guys. Go top red, LethuL.
You might stop on you live.
I'm gonna die.
Last LethuL.
I can pulse them off in.
Yeah, watch out, One guy low on me. They're about chase. They've been trying to weak also. He's still there.
Bottom main, top it.
Watch out, really good, guys.
And one turbine. Apple 100. Apple. Yeah, last two eight. Don't die here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Guys, I'm just gonna grapple towards
Grapple him.
You want to jump on me?
Bottom main, absolutely lethal.
And as we jump back into the game, the listening, you can hear the communication coming in from Pioneers. Everything seems to be pretty good for them. Everyone listening, everyone responding. And look at the score right now. It's pretty much tied up between the 2 teams as Frosty will win that battle against Taulek.
Very good shots there from Frosty. Indeed, 2v2 for just a moment. Players spawning up here, though. And halfway through this round, it has been neck and neck, as you say.
Ball's in the hands of Druk, though. Pioneers have gone into a lead, and it's starting to extend a little bit here. Manny with that kill means that Royal 2 is going to be under pressure in just a few moments' time, but Frosty's on the flank, but so is Manny. SnakeBite should be there to clean up this kill, but no, it got a little bit messy there. And while all of this battle is happening in and around tower, look at Druk. He's still got the ball in his hands, and now Pioneers are closing in on tying this one up 1-1.
This is absolutely great control coming in. They even start to rotate around pipes as well. The ball finally goes down, but about 30 unanswered points for Pioneers there at bottom A.
And if there's one thing that Pioneers have maybe learned from that first round is this is not over. Even though it's only 20 points to go, even though there's 2 minutes day left on that round clock, they know they cannot take their foot off the gas because the same thing will happen as SnakeBite has that ball in his hand once more.
Taulek flies in there, picks up 1, no damage even on that battle. Once again, the Pioneers seem to be so good at that efficiency, flying in, not taking any damage. Often answered back, though, by the other side of the stage, and Sentinels as well. It's now a 20-point game.
Look at this rotate. At the moment, Taulek's just kind of chasing shadows. SnakeBite's managed to get around that corner. Can't quite connect with the back of the head there. LethuL should be dealt with, but Frosty also has a sword. But that means that SnakeBite's now in a position to play this ball. Even though he's about to come under pressure, he can reset that ball speed map.
Druk with a nice little repulsor as well to help him in that battle. It will be 3 dead momentarily. Ball will spawn. They were not in a position to grab, though, so they will need to slay and get the damage again.
Looks like Repulsor and Sword combo is going to be in the hands of Druk here. SoulSnipe will open things up here for Pioneers as well. And that allows Manny to move back towards the elevator. They're closing in on their first round here of Recharge Oddball. A hold here, and this might be the round going in the hands of the Pioneers.
Still 2 dead once again. We'll have to see what the Pioneers do back here. Manny stays alive in a big must-win battle. LethuL is down bottom A, so still the battle for A will continue here at the end of the game.
The longer that LethuL survives here, the more chance that Sentinels have of holding off this push. But as you can see, LethuL falls. Taulek picks up the ball, and now it's just 14 points as 2 more kills go to Pioneers. 2 dead for Sentinels, and this could be the round hold that they're looking for.
3 dead now. This will be the round, and the Pioneers do answer back. And the Kansas City crowd is back in it. We are tied 1-1 going into round number 3.
Right on cue, the hometown crowd gets behind their boys on the main stage as we come down to a shootout. It's 1-1 on our first map. Next round wins.
My God, high stakes Halo here. So much to play for. As we said, if you're just joining us, these 2 teams are 2-0 in pool play. This will be the go-ahead series to determine who will have the lead coming out of this Friday evening.
2 players who are popping off at the moment in this game. Frosty, 31 kills for him. On the other side of things, Taulek trying to match him. 30 kills for him as well. So they've been the players who have been slaying out for their respective squads. And right on cue, Taulek hits a big 4 onto Royal 2.
Look at him getting hyped up too. You see him there yelling, getting the boys hyped. And into this, there's a lot to play for here. And they know they cannot afford to lose this one. Pipes push coming in the back. Frosty will handily deal with SoulSnipe. Let me give you a stat. These 2 teams across these 3 rounds, they are separated by 1 kill.
Wow.
101 kills for Sentinels and 100 kills for the Pioneers. Unbelievably tight series here.
It's going to be Sentinels who have a minuscule lead here. 11-6, as Royal 2 will bring this ball back. They're going to deal with Manny, though, who's managed to sneak behind enemy lines. SoulSnipe picks up 2, and SnakeBite now has to rotate that ball back in towards Pipes. But again, he was left on his own momentarily. LethuL with the body to play with, as he's going to have to play bodyguard here for SnakeBite.
LethuL not able to get the shot on batteries. So just going to try to get some damage if he can.
Oh,
Slam, that'll do! Maybe turns 2 as well! Druk will win that one in the back. But LethuL starting to pop off a bit.
SnakeBite capitalizing on the damage done as well as he puts together a little spree as well of his own. 5 without response now for SnakeBite as he gets the killing spree, tries to latch onto SoulSnipe and maybe get a little bit closer than he would have once. 2 Sentinels find themselves at 2 dead, and SoulSnipe this time finds himself with the ball in hand as Manny finds himself picking up more headshots with a shock rifle.
Nice double kill there. That will still be 2 dead for Sentinels. Now the push comes, and it's not in order, right? You got players pushing on a bad spot. Rhythm, that's a back-to-back double. Call it an exterm. It's a killing spree for Manny.
Manny just cleaning up Sentinels wherever they push. He's doing the damage needed to allow his teammates to have a comfortable time with the oddball in their hands. SoulSnipe is the player with the ball in his hands. LethuL taken down. Taulek also picks up that next power-up. Camo here for Taulek. SnakeBite flying in, but SnakeBite also being taken down.
And with this run, Taulek takes the lead in the game for kills. He now has 34 over Frosty's 33.
Right behind him, though, is going to be SnakeBite as well, joining on 33. But look at this now, Taulek. Is it going to be a Pipes push again from Sentinels? The camo dissipates. It runs out. The power-up not in use now, but the information is there as Taulek is going to pick up 1 and stop that push once more.
This game was just 29-6. It's now 60-29 in favor of the Pioneers. Only 40 points to go for them to close out this game number 1.
And SoulSnipe is popping off with this shock rifle as well. Every single time we go to his screen, the man is hitting headshots.
My God, so much damage as well. They will keep players on the respawn, and Sentinels, they cannot find the composure they need.
They can't. They're making a desperate push here across that mid-bridge, but look at this man. He is not missing shots right now. It's a killing spree for SoulSnipe. Finally going to be shut down, but not without 3 members of Sentinels also having to donate their lives.
About 65 unanswered points on the board just now for Pioneers during those sprees. Fantastic slaying control, fantastic map control as well.
And what that's resulted in, 75-29 with 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock here for Pioneers to hold out. Manny and SoulSnipe combine again. Going off the back of the damage here from Taulek, who goes up to the skies to survive. And the oddball gets picked up by a teammate too.
Oh my God, look at Taulek somehow just staying alive with ridiculous acrobatics in that scenario. Dodging, dipping, diving away from grenades as well. 15 points to go for Pioneers.
And closing as well in on that 100-point mark. LethuL on Royal 2 though. They might be able to get in to break this setup. The play ball will come in. Druk should be taken down. Manny will fall, but Druk stays alive and takes down LethuL.
Huge plays there. Even gets his shields back as well. 5 points to go.
If there's anyone who's going to stop it, it's going to be Frosty with the camo. We saw him rescue that first round for Sentinels. And now he's going to have to do it again. There's one. Manny's going to be pushing him though through pipes. SnakeBite coming to join his teammate.
Sentinels will grab the ball. They will continue scoring. They have zero room for error here. And they're going to try to steal this win back. And they need a 60-point run to do so.
Frosty finds one. Frosty finds two. That's going to slow things down once more for Pioneers. This battle around elevator, so important. It's a trade. And that battle sums up how close this has been.
World 2 going to rotate back. 2 were dead for both sides when this ball was grabbed. He will rotate back to elevator and see where the spawners come. He's the last player alive. 3 were dead. Here comes the Pioneers push.
Needs to get the play ball. Needs to get it out of hands. Needs to get it into a position where his teammates can get a line of sight on it, but they're not going to be able to. Pioneers move in, and Pioneers pick up game number 1 in the series. And there's some stone cold killer faces looking across the Sentinels.
This is wild. You gotta see this crowd.
You gotta hear it. We can feel this stage vibrating between our feet, and my word, what a performance it was.
Wow. Unbelievable game. What a way to start this series. Back and forth between these two teams. In the end, Pioneers, they clutch up after a devastating, heartbreaking round number 1 that was stolen out from underneath them. Off of the heroics by Frosty, they bounce back and will get the reverse sweep in the oddball rounds themselves, closing out the last 2.
And like we mentioned, it's a series based on respect, Andy, and at the moment, they certainly got it in the crowd.
Yeah.
They're gaining it in the people at home as well, and they certainly are going to gain it from Sentinels after that game 1 performance. But now, of course, things are going to change a little bit. They've got that first game on the board, a Slayer coming up next. If they can play at that pace and also match Sentinels in those slays like they did in game number 1.
They're doing it.
Pioneers are looking good right now.
They're looking very good, and we knew that this series would be a tight one, but I gotta say that's maybe the best way that we could have started things off. Here's some look at the highlights at game number 1.
I mean, game number 1 was ridiculous. It was about as close as you could possibly ask for. 2 teams just going back and forth, and SnakeBite here. This was a game-saving play in itself here. If Pioneers even get out of this for a second with the balling, doesn't get those 3 kills, but Frosty, just enjoy it, everyone. That is a giga brain play from one of the best we've seen.
And you had to think, and I think the Pioneers players and this crowd thought it was over after that. We didn't hear anything from either of those 2. However, Pioneers, they find the resilience, they answer back, they close out round number 2, they tie it 1-1.
And like I mentioned, sometimes you need that little bit of an extra boost. If you're in your hometown, you've got a crowd behind you, sometimes it just refocuses you that little bit more. They take Oddball Recharge 2-1. And now we move over to Street Slayer. This is a game type which can be played at incredibly fast pace. Pioneers love that.
They absolutely do, and you could tell that they took advantage of those scenarios. They knew exactly the angles they had to challenge. They had their timing down. How many times in that round number 3 did we see Sentinels off of the timing on their push? They were 2 dead, and they were still sending pipe players through without the damage they needed. Pioneers took advantage of that, and so clearly made it look easy in round number 3. They're going to be looking to do the same thing in our game 2 Slayer.
Game is loading. And it's time for Pioneers to really try and put the pressure onto Sentinels. However, we know this Sentinels roster. We know how they can bounce back from any position. And the longer the series goes with Sentinels' game 5 record over the years, I just feel like this is almost a must-win here for Pioneers to really, really ramp up their chances of a series victory.
I agree. You do not want to give Sentinels the room to get back into a series, to get comfortable. As you say, the more games they have under their belt, especially during a LAN weekend, the more dangerous they become. This is not just a Championship Sunday team. This is a World Championship team, and they're going to look to remind us of that very soon.
Massive moment in the series. Massive, massive moment in the series for both teams. And we're only into our second game. Pioneers up by 1. Street Slayer first to 50. It's a shootout.
It's the favorites versus the young guns here. The hometown young guns of Pioneers, they lead 1-0 after your first game. In game 2 Slayer, Streets loading in right now. 38 kills for Frosty in that last game. Can he do it again? We're starting things off here with SoulSnipe.
Well, let's see what SoulSnipe can do, because at the end of that third round that we saw, when he had that shock rifle in his hand, the man was hitting bodies, the man was shaving heads, he was not missing with that thing, and if he can keep that kind of confidence and performance up, he could give Pioneers a really good opportunity here in this game. LethuL going to be his first challenge. Royal2 trying to clean up for his teammate, but Druk is going to actually open things up here. Manny will answer back 2-1 lead here at the start of this game number 2 for Pioneers.
If you're on the side of Pioneers, you need to keep a cool head. You saw just how smiley and happy they were after that game number 1. The work is not done. You're just getting started. They need to make sure they focus up and close out this series strong.
When you say just getting started, it's the perfect start here for Pioneers. 4-2, but they do have the rockets in their hand. But we mentioned this before, Andy. It's one thing to have the rockets. You have to use them well. You have to use them effectively. That one did not connect, and Pioneers lost 2 kills because of it.
That's right. You got to convert. 6-4. Still an early lead for Pioneers. Taulek pushing out here, trying to get some red room angles. Will dodge grenades once again. He's the first forward. Needs to make sure he stays alive and gets the damage.
6-5 then. And I gotta be honest, a little bit of a slower pace in this game. However, a perfect kill coming in with that Stalker rifle might change things up. LethuL has a second thought about challenging once more, because the man on your screen, maybe not talked about enough on this Pioneers lineup. He's been the one leading the line.
How about that for entry damage? Taulek goes solo in B, hits a perfect on Frosty, and then also peeks continually onto tires to get that great damage, and he gets cleaned up. That's why they're up 10-7.
No kills on the board at the start of this game for LethuL. We kind of highlighted him. And yes, it's early in the game. There is that first one. So 1, 2, and 2 for him. Royal2 has been the player who's been popping up most for Sentinels, though. He has 4 kills to his name at the moment. On the other side of things is Druk, actually a player that you wanted to highlight. He's got 5 kills to his name.
Frosty will fall 2 dead for each side once again. How long has Taulek been alive this entire time, just roaming and patrolling with the Stalker rifle?
It's time for both teams to now fight for the next power weapon that's coming up on the map. The rockets have just dropped. Frosty trying to push forward, create space for his team to try and capitalize on that power weapon dropping. If they can get a hold of it, then maybe they've got a way back into this game. Only down by 3, but that rocket's going to break shields, but not hearts.
Great pressure. Yes, it's a rocket grab for Sentinels, but look at the pressure that they're applying to this rocket launcher. The first one does not come in. Only 1 more rocket to play with, and still a 3-kill lead.
Royal2 just having to play this one patiently. You can see how Pioneers are playing this as well. They know where the rockets are. They're trying to bait it out. It will only be a 1-for-1 trade. So Pioneers played that one so well, recognizing they didn't have the power weapon, trying to make them waste the ammo and at least get that 1-for-1, which they would have taken every single day.
LethuL very nicely done in C to stay alive. That will be 3 dead, and just like that, we are here to a 2-kill game in your game number 2.
You can feel almost the trepidation of both teams as well. Nobody wants to overcommit. Nobody wants to push too hard. Everyone knows how important this game is in the series. And it's showing in the decisions being made. Druk, unfortunately, is going to make the wrong one, as LethuL will be crouching around that corner with the Bulldog. And Sentinels now go into a lead. It's a swing in their favor. Pioneers find themselves 4 dead.
That's a great back-to-back swings for Sentinels there. They were just down by about 4. Now they find themselves up by about 1. That's great discipline. And you have to make those decisions at this stage. When we're in the 40s, it's too late. There's too much to play for. Here, they're making sure they clutch up before we get to the mid-game.
LethuL's kind of been the catalyst of it at the moment. We mentioned how, well, I mentioned, excuse me, how he was 0-2 at the start of the game. Now he's 4-3, and he's doing damage to all of the players on Pioneers. 2-4 for Pioneers. LethuL will fall as well, but look at the kill difference starting to escalate back into the hands of Sentinels.
And look at this, as the Bulldog continues to run B, and Sentinels is taking advantage of that. SoulSnipe will go for a swim as well. Now still a 5-kill lead for Sentinels.
Rocket's going to be popping as well. The third set of the game. LethuL with a cheeky little peek over the garden fence and managed to bury his opponent there, as it will now be 29-23. Where are those rockets, though? Have they managed to create the space needed with that kill from LethuL to get the rockets back in their hands? Yes is the answer. Frosty has them.
Going to take his time here. No rush. They're up by 5. Very comfortable lead for Sentinels. Just going to look for information here. Not pushing in just yet. Swapping to the VR. Love this discipline from Frosty.
That's going to be a kill for him as well. Not only that, damage, drop shield down. Royal2 capitalizes on the damage. That was an assist and a kill for Frosty as Sentinels start to look good here. Frosty being caught off guard by those respawners for just a second, but still, great trigger discipline to make sure this rocket is still here waiting for a Pioneers member.
Look at this, no rush at all. He's gonna wait till he has the right rocket to throw in. Hasn't found it yet, still hasn't found it. That works. He's gonna rocket heaven and he'll gladly trade out a power position. It's just great discipline. It's great timing and understanding of the flow of the game from Frosty.
Now Pioneers, it's time to go into a situation where you have to just clean white Sentinels. You cannot afford to start trading at this point. It's only 15 kills now to go for Sentinels to tie up the series at 1-1. They need to find a little bit more cohesion. Teamwork needs to start working for them a little bit better, but SnakeBite, he's been playing lights out so far. Even in that game number 1, he's been the standout for Sentinels as he finds a killing spree. Such a monumental moment in this game.
And off of the back of that killing spree, it's a 10-kill lead for Sentinels. Almost does it to Druk, but great resilience from Druk to fly into the back of C and clear out SnakeBite, who had been a pain for quite some time. It's an 11-kill game.
11-kill game, and if you look at across the stats as well, no player on Sentinels falling into the negative. Everybody is positive. On the other side of things, Taulek, I mentioned he was having a really strong game number 1. Game number 2 in the last couple of minutes has fallen away quite some. 4 and 9 for him. Druk trying to do the damage on these players, just flying in, but not going to be able to. Finally gets one onto LethuL. But 44 kills here for Sentinels. They only need 6. As the rocket launch is going to be popping in a few moments as well.
Rocks will pop. SnakeBite will have eyes on it right away, but it's good pressure from the Pioneers. But once again, is it too late? Only 5 kills to go for Sentinels.
SoulSnipe gets the rockets, but that's one without a kill to its name, so only one to play with here. Maybe need a little bit more. LethuL going to be putting pressure on with those grenades. Taulek picks up one onto Frosty. This rocket needs to connect. As Sentinels only need 3. SnakeBite will win that fight as well under pressure, and now it's just 2 for Sentinels. They could be tying up our series at 1-1.
As you say, only 2 to go. Royal 2 with a big game here, 15 and 10 as they hunt down these final kills.
2 players weak on the driveway. Here comes Frosty. He picks up the 49. The 50th will be picked up by the man you mentioned, Royal 2. And we're tied up at 1-1.
Few Sentinels few Sentinels fans in the crowd as well here. You hear a little bit of noise coming from them. They're happy to see a 50-38 victory in that game number 2. And we'll tie the series up 1-1, which to be honest feels the only fitting result after 2 games with how tight these 2 teams have been so far. Now we get ready for game number 3 and the go-ahead game.
Looking across the stats of that last game as well. SnakeBite 14 and 8. Royal 2, you mentioned 16 kills for him. And also just the 10 deaths. LethuL 8 and 7 and Frosty 12 and 13. So pretty much everyone on Sentinels doing the job they needed to do in a Slayer, keeping those deaths down and staying around even as a minimum, but most players in a positive.
And great stuff. I mean, look at Sentinels. We talked about it. They were down by about 6 kills before they started to get those back-to-back slays going. It was somewhere around 20-15, 20-14 or so. To then take the lead 21-20 and really never look back says a lot about what this team is capable of when they sit down, when they get serious on land.
It certainly does. And now we head into a game 3. I mentioned how pivotal that game was in the series, kind of taking the wind out of the sails of Pioneers a little bit. And now they know they're in for a battle and they're in for a fight. It's not going to be an easy series. I'm sure they weren't expecting it to be an easy series coming into this. But after what was a heroic game number 1 from them and the way that they won it, I feel like that might have been an opportunity that just slipped through their fingers.
I have to agree. I think we saw, like we said, a lot of smiles on the side of the stage. And in the end, they were not able to close that out. And also blowing what was a 5-6 kill lead right around the 20 kill mark. It's tough to see that. They were not able to bounce back, but all credit to Sentinels. Applied great pressure throughout that. So patient, knew exactly how to play that Slayer off the back of each other's support. They will close it out 50-38. And we set our sights on Strongholds on Livefire.
Oh, this is going to be a heck of a game number 3. So let me tell you that if you're in the arena or if you're at home, you're going to enjoy this one, because we know how quickly both these teams play, and we also have the opportunity with the objectives in play to see a couple of players pop off. We've seen Frosty put up huge numbers on Strongholds Livefire, and it might be his opportunity to do so again.
Yeah, I gotta say, on the Pioneer side, Taulek, the man, is heating up. He's been putting up huge numbers throughout this entire series so far. He's gonna look to do the same thing in game number 3. It's gonna be Strongholds on Livefire.
Well, Sentinels tie up the series at 1-1. Pioneers maybe got those headphones open right now, hoping there's a little bit more support coming in from that hometown crowd. We're into our game number 3. We're starting off with a POV of LethuL.
The man to watch for this tournament. A lot of questions being asked of LethuL, right? Is he on top of his game? This is a Mount Rushmore Halo player, one of the best to ever play the game. Is his position on this team at risk? This weekend might be the decider.
Well, early on here, we're going to see a little bit of a conversion going on over at C, and it looks like Sentinels not only do that, they get B as well. A, they've managed to let slip through their fingers, but they have control of the map. Early control here means points for Sentinels, although it looks like Pioneer's already jumping into B, so it's going to be momentary control and momentary scoring.
SnakeBite tossing some instas. Down at B, they will not connect. We talked about SnakeBite's performance at Anaheim. One of the best performances he's put up on LAN. Enormous numbers, I believe 4th overall KD in that tournament. Here comes the push on back B.
LethuL with the camouflage as well, so he has the opportunity to do big damage here. However, he's going to be sniffed out. Kills being traded across the board. Taulek last alive, and that'll be 4 dead for Pioneers.
Still BC control. Druk is the last player. Here he is on C plat, gets spotted out right away. Able to stay alive long enough to maybe stop C, but you have to think here comes the hunt. Gets 1 kill in the back of the base, though. Finally gets it traded out. Great play by Druk to make sure he converts there on that 1v4.
Yeah, but good patience also coming in here from Sentinels as well. You can see that they didn't force the fight. They took their time, and now LethuL can just be such a pain here to Pioneers. All of Sentinels, the rest of the team, move towards A. They converted A, and now LethuL has to be dealt with here at Tower, and will be dealt with. That's such a vital kill for Pioneers.
Huge.
Because if LethuL doesn't get taken down, not only can he start just distracting at C, but with that tower control and heat wave, he can do so much damage on B and respawners as well.
3 players pushing sandbags. Is an all-in on top mid there. Kills will be traded out in the end, and SnakeBite gets a double kill off screen. That's the type of thing we're talking about with SnakeBite. In a situation where they're a man down, he will convert on double kills that you were not expecting, and it will completely flip the control.
Camera going to be popping again here. You can see Frosty got taken down. Pretty sure he didn't get the burn as Taulek is going to start firing the jets a little bit in this game as well. 2 for him, and finally Pioneers get a semblance of control. They have AC, they also have the kills to go alongside it. Killing spree here for Taulek. He needed to light the fire under this team. They're starting to pick up the kills to do so.
Gonna grab that late camo as well. That was a very, very late pop. About 25 seconds after it came up. Just staying alive in the dummies. Look at this. A little bit of moment of opportunity.
LethuL going to take damage. And won't be able to get away as well. So that's the heat wave down, and now he can move in, but he's going to be spotted out here, but not without taking 1 player down from Sentinels. That 1 player he took down was joined by 2 others, so Sentinels on the back foot here. AB still in the control of Pioneers. They still score, and look at this. We're about a tie game now as Pioneers show a little bit of heart.
Look at LethuL staying alive. Great job by LethuL in that scenario. Not an easy thing to do. He stays alive at C plat, waits for his teammates to spawn. It's a very different outcome if he goes down there as well.
Damage on both these players on the big door towards B as well. B being converted here by Sentinels, and that play from LethuL, even though he didn't get the kills to go alongside it, just held that door, held that angle, and basically stopped all of Pioneers being able to progress towards that stronghold.
Big heads up play by there by LethuL, excuse me, like we said. Druk with a good challenge onto sandbags. He will win that one. 2 dead for each side. 75-63 now in favor of Pioneers.
Druk gonna get caught out by SnakeBite there, just sneaking around in the corner, skulking around with that heat wave. Taulek also going to feel the brunt end of that battle rifle. It'll be Frosty who comes in to clean that kill up, as Sentinels should get a pretty comfortable reset onto B. And now SnakeBite can think about turning his attentions towards A. Do they want to flip here? Do they want to let the respawns from Pioneers maybe go for C? And it looks like they get the reset on both, and now they have the opportunity maybe to pressurize a triple cap here.
Yeah, Frosty thinking about going big door. He will go big door. Check back A. Not seeing any window spawners. Does find a busy red ton. Wait. Whoa. Might have hit the body shot through the other player, then get the cleanup. The cleanest and smoothest double kill we've seen on screen yet, and he will continue capturing A.
I dare you to challenge Frosty right now, Pioneers, because you get the feeling he ain't going to miss too many shots. However, SoulSnipe accepts the challenge, and Frosty will be forced to back down. So good pressure coming in from Pioneers. While all of this is going down, SnakeBite has that camo.
Beautiful stuff here once again from Sentinels. They will now double the score of their opponent, 122-63. It's a very, very different rest of the series so far for Sentinels, looking strong in this game.
Spawns coming in over at C as well. You can see that SnakeBite's going to turn his attention towards defending this stronghold instead of maybe going for the conversion over at A, and SoulSnipe sniffs him out. A vital kill for him, but had to donate his life to do so. 2 kills apiece here for both the teams, and Frosty just explodes Manny there with a couple of grenades and takes his sniper rifle back.
Fantastic use of that spiker, as you said, just evaporates his opponent, tries to look sandbags. That one will not connect, but simply his presence here at Nest and watching big door is enough to make it so difficult for Pioneers to push out.
3-man push on the C here coming from Pioneers. LethuL gets 1, and that makes the decision much more difficult for Pioneers, as they know the information is going to be given away. Another player taken down is Manny this time. Frosty picks up that kill and a triple cap in effect. Here for Sentinels, the score is starting to go a little bit skywards if you're a Pioneers fan here. 180 to 63 as Frosty is starting to heat up.
The cavalry's coming in, and you have to think Sentinels, as we expected, looking better and better as the series goes on. Let's go ahead and get into an Astro listening with Sentinels.
See, fight B together, fight B together.
Matt,
They're in A, they're in A.
Just living.
I spawn A. B.
A plat. A plat dead.
Watch out, mid. I'm mid, might push me.
You went back, PJ. I went back to you. I'm up for cam.
I spawn here.
Yeah, 2 and B. Alright, you just group up.
He's one on cam, PJ. On cam, shoot him.
That's here. You got the trader. Got
Manny.
Dude,
nice.
Yo, I'll tell you where he spawned.
We're
We're going C.
C plat one.
Okay, one shot, Druk. One hit.
Nice, cap C.
Here with him. TJ.
Go B. A plat, grab me snipe.
Where am I? Oh, he's gonna go, Mango. Taulek one hit. Taulek one hit. He's gonna be.
When it jumped into the Sentinels listening, it was a triple cap in their hands, but Pioneers have turned this one around a little bit. But one thing to highlight, the IGL ability and calling coming in from Frosty. We are going C out of this triple cap. We're going to fight for C and get a foothold back in the game.
So important in this game type. World 2, last player alive momentarily. Druk comes in with the Repulsor Heatwave special, but that will get taken down out of the skies. World 2 will stay alive back tower.
There's no better player you want alive on an elevated area than Royal 2. The man's been doing it for so long from these kind of positions, but Pioneers also recognize that. They stiff him out, they take him down, and even though Sentinels continue to score, see it's being turned over now by Pioneers. They might be able to start scoring themselves.
And you heard as soon as that trip cap was coming in during the listening, hometown crowd getting loud. They want to see more points on the board for the side of Pioneers. Taulek, once again, great performance so far. He's 14 and 10.
Needler coming in from Royal 2. Super Combine. It's going to convert into a kill. However, is it going to convert into points? Taulek has the sniper rifle. He's just picked up one kill onto Frosty, trying to hold down these angles. Royal 2 trying to put pressure on, but Druk's going to be there alongside Taulek to defend B.
Got to think Sentinels not really with the position they needed to make that B push there. That will cost them. They will lose one player. They will lose 2 off of fantastic shots from Druk.
And with that kill, Pioneers starting to get back into this once more. Frosty, those shots things down top middle. And manages to give them a foothold at least. The battle for camo starts to evolve in front of our eyes now, but look at the score, 160 to 206, and it's Pioneers who are still chasing down that score of Sentinels.
And you have to think every single kill like you just saw Frosty win, those are going to matter so much when this game has gotten this close. We should mention about a 100-point run or so for Pioneers over the last 2.5 minutes of play. However, Sentinels will now grab AC. They will continue scoring. They're less than 40 points away.
Not only that, they take down the camo player. It's all that they took AC and they had both plats in their control to get the angles onto camo. It's a great play call again coming in here from Sentinels to recognize that going for the camo, not the most important priority on the map right now. AC still in their control. They are still scoring for now.
Does so well to take down Druk back tower as well. Now they can set their sights elsewhere on B. Look at the assists coming in. 3 dead. Last player alive is SoulSnipe. This could be over very soon with the B cap.
Sentinels starting to out-rotate Pioneers as well. Alongside the Slays they're picking up, and Frosty, 19 kills for him. A triple cap here for Sentinels is the last push really for Pioneers to try and force their way back into this game. BC hold. Now coming in from Sentinels. They're about to cross that 250-point mark. They will not just about be able to convert for now, but they're just baiting the players in on at C. They get the 250, and they will take the lead in the series for the first time.
And as you said, it's the man Frosty. Most kills on the team at 19, least deaths at 13. A huge performance from him to help secure that win. They will now take the lead in the series.
The crowd's starting to be silenced a little bit with that performance from Sentinels. And that was almost like the Sentinels of old, the way they controlled that game, Andy. They were never flustered. They were picking up the kills they needed to, and they were also aided by some big plays coming in from their superstar.
Even when they find themselves on the receiving end of some bad luck, maybe they get a stronghold reset that they were not hoping for. Maybe they find themselves going 2 dead. You could hear it during that listen and just how calm they were, how they were able to really keep it together. And even when they're getting trip capped, they focus on which stronghold they're pushing and which players they need to get the kill. Where's that opening damage? How do we convert here? It's always just a mathematical equation. Where do we get the numbers? Where do we get the damage? Let's go from there. That's exactly what they did in that game.
For Pioneers now, the question that we were asking of Sentinels gets asked to them. How do you bounce back in the series? How do you get into a mental set, a mindset here to tie up this series and send us to a game 5? Because if you can send to a game 5 now, after coming off the back of the win, then anything really can happen. So game 4, vital for both teams. Sentinels the opportunity to close things out, but Pioneers with the opportunity maybe to steal this away and take the momentum towards the game 5.
And you have to think, we don't always say this in full play, but with these two teams 2-0, this is a huge tone setter for the rest of the weekend here. You have to think, if Sentinels advance on here, they might forget about this pool play match. If Pioneers win here, they'll never forget this series, and they might go deep into the bracket. Taking a look at the last 30 seconds of that gameplay, really it came down to the final work there on the big door bait, just perfectly executed. Yeah,
as you say, the big door bait is the best way to put it. A little couple of scraps of maybe some Kansas City barbecue left at the door around B, and it looked like Pioneers were hungry. Of course, they had to desperately try and force their way into a stronghold to elongate that game, and the trap was set and the trap was executed perfectly here by Sentinels, just to make sure they held that B stronghold in those last few moments. And it's just good experience being shown by this roster, who are one of the most experienced rosters you could ask for.
The big door barbecue bait at B.
A lot of Bs.
A lot of Bs. 250 to 166 is your final in game number 3. And we head to a very interesting game type. It's going to be CTF Aquarius. And the reason I'm focusing on this game type, and I hoped that we might get here, because we have an interesting stat here. The #1 player in the league in damage dealt per minute in CTF, it's Druk of the Pioneers.
Druk of the Pioneers, so all eyes on Druk as we head into this game. And if you wanted a game type where one of your players has the opportunity to pop off, seems to have that knowledge, that little bit extra spice, a little bit extra sauce, so to speak, to keep it themed here around the barbecue we've been talking about for quite some time, then
we've been eating for quite some time.
That's 100% true. The amount of calories that have been consumed is absolutely disgusting for both of us over the last few days. But you need that play, you need that map, you want to see that map. This is where Pioneers are probably thinking, okay boys, we have the opportunity to send this to a game 5 if our player, who statistically has been standing out, could do exactly the same again.
Yeah, it's worth noting, a lot of his damage stats do come from Bazaar, very different game type, right? Of course, still has good numbers on Aquarius, but Taulek's numbers often come from Bazaar games. Druk and Manny are also within the top 5 in damage dealt. That tells you just how much damage this team is dealing in a capture the flag game type. The question is, can they clutch up here when they need to? This is a must-win.
And the question also, following on from the statistics, which is always something that I like to do, so question the stat, right? You're dealing the damage, are you converting it into caps?
Yeah.
Because it's great to do the damage, it's great to, put teams into the respawn, but how efficient are you once you get that flag moving? Are you able to execute part 2, stopping those overextensions on the pink side, making sure you're controlling the spawns? All these things that these teams know how to do so well. As you can see, Captain SnakeBite here just reinforcing maybe a few things for Sentinels to focus on as they head into this game.
Absolutely, you see that right there. Just the last few things they know they need to prioritize, focus up on. As you said, Captain SnakeBite, lovingly referred to as Dad Bite, the father of this team, knows what they need to do to close this one out. And you can just tell, this is not an easy series for Sentinels.
Oh, it certainly isn't. It's maybe a series they weren't expecting to be easy as well, especially with the hometown crowd here in KC, firmly behind the Pioneers. But for now, it's the opportunity for Pioneers to send us towards a game 5. But before we get there, they're going to have to win a game of Aquarius, capture the flag. Sentinels, they win this game, they win the series.
Once again, player to watch here on your screen. Taulek far and away the most damage per minute in CTFs, and we're starting things off here with Druk.
See what Druk can do. Damage down onto Frosty, top middle, but already Frosty being aggressive towards that camouflage. Now, one thing we've seen from some of the games we've seen today so far, Andy, is the camouflage kind of not been a big influence. Teams have been able to sniff out that player pretty quickly. But at the moment, you can see how quickly this started. Coming in from Sentinels, already Royal 2 picking up multiple kills. Already SnakeBite getting this one back. The rally is perfect here from Sentinels. And within the first 30 seconds or so, it's going to be 1-0 to Sen.
Wow, 35 seconds, and it was not a clean wipe. They only had 2 dead, and they run that flag back home. It's a beautiful run from Sentinels. That's already going to put the pressure onto Pioneers right away.
I mean, that's the worst possible start for Pioneers, right? The last thing you want to do is just find yourself looking down the barrel of a series loss in the first few seconds. You need to find a little bit of map control here. One way to do that is getting the camo and getting the heat wave. SoulSnipe has the opportunity here to shut things down, but no, LethuL sniffs him out.
Very good sniff out by LethuL. You want to kill that camo heat wave player at all costs. That's exactly what LethuL does there to make sure that that's no longer a threat.
Druk pushing through the gen here, and will be able to clean up the kill onto SnakeBite as well. But Royal 2 already pressurizing from the fridge, just jumping up on that ledge and making sure that anyone who's pushing into the base is going to have some problems. Speaking of which, LethuL has a few himself, as Druk will be able to clean up a very, very simple kill for his team. 2 dead though for Pioneers. That's why he's being a little bit, hesitant to get inside of that base, a little bit hesitant to think about putting that flag, because he's going to try and even up the numbers first.
Had to hit the shot, gets the last shot medal as well. To hit that, might even do it against SnakeBite as well. Great peek shots, he does it! Druk from the fridge takes down 2 players on Sentinel single-handedly.
Well, Pocket's going to be here soon, and no shields, no problem seems a very applicable phrase to use in that situation. Druk just challenging, peeking, and dealing with SnakeBite. SoulSnipe will be taken down, 3 dead for Pioneers, and even off the back of that big play, still no flag moving, and SnakeBite gets the camo.
Onset, you asked the right question. The damage is great, the kills are great. Does it result in flag caps? Right now, Taulek wants to make sure this flag comes home.
This is the first opportunity the Pioneers have had to move this flag back to their base. They do have the kills to go alongside this as well, but they've got to deal with LethuL. LethuL has not been accounted for here by Pioneers, and that's what happens when you let LethuL slip through the cracks. It's 2 dead now for Pioneers, and there's a counter cap opportunity.
Even gets the toss going as well. That was 3 dead. There's 1 more player who has not yet been killed on the Pioneers, but they have deep presence in the enemy base.
Certainly do. LethuL is just having a field day. He's feasting inside of the base runs. Once again, as SoulSnipe does get a touch on that flag, so Sentinels still with work to do. SnakeBite and LethuL, the long-time duo, still combining well.
Still 2v2 on the map, still both flags out front. They do get a touch. LethuL still is your man behind enemy lines.
Constant desperation touches coming in. Druk finally deals with LethuL. Where's the rest of the team though? It looks like, unfortunately, they're going to be in that respawn screen. Druk might have to go for a desperate touch, but it allows Sentinels to sneak away with a flag of their own.
He does go for a desperate touch. 4 dead. That flag is going to be returned unless there's a hero play here. This should be another Sentinels cap.
Maybe a grenade, maybe something, but no. SnakeBite says no, and that will be LethuL running it home. 2-0 now for Sentinels. And Pioneers just maybe ruin the fact they did not account for LethuL.
Very, very unorthodox flag standoff there at the front of the base. That one lasting much longer than usual. Sentinels keeps a cool head the whole time, forcing the aggression out of Pioneers. They will convert again. They now lead 2-0 and looking good once again.
Heat wave once again inside of the base. It's going to be Druk's POV that we're watching right now. It's defensive kills for them though. Camo going to be popping in a few moments, and you can see the SnakeBite was set up top middle, so pressure coming in on this player inside of the gen. Druk gets taken down. A couple of dynamos going to do the damage. Manny falls as well. Double kill here for LethuL, opening up the gen run.
Slow play in this here, you see. Waiting for each other's shields. And now trying to push in the back of the base. Those kills will be traded out. 2 dead once again.
LethuL, the standout player so far in this game. 13-6 for the man who Sentinels fans missed for so long in Halo Infinite, but the man is back and he's performing as you would expect here. 7.5 minutes left on the clock, but Pioneers, the story so far for them is they haven't really had an opportunity to get that flag converted. It's been a little bit scrappy for them, nothing clean, only that 1 run, but maybe now there's an opportunity to do so. Will they account for LethuL this time? No, they won't.
How long can you let LethuL stay alive in the back of your base and let this continue? He's 14-6. He's spent the entire game in the enemy base. At this point, he's got citizenship.
Oh! Frosty turns 1. That is a bow he should not have won. The trust maybe helping him out in this situation. And LethuL still alive. Pioneers 4 dead. Sentinels with the opportunity to run.
He's got a tent pitched in the back of the Pioneers base, and he calls it home. 16-6 in this game, blowing away the rest of the lobby.
LethuL going to start doing some OBJ as well. Gets that flag moving. 2 players fall on his team though, so I think that's going to be a dead flag here for Sentinels. And this is the opportunity for Pioneers to get map control. Need to get up the map, need to find some angles. At the moment it's a flood on all fronts, all sides of the base, which means that Sentinels will be spawning in the back of the base.
I think we also need to see them getting on the same page, and we have not seen that. When LethuL's alive in the back of the base and 2 players that are running bottom mid are not shooting LethuL together, it's a big indicator that this team is just a little bit off pace. They're not on the same page together.
Druk picks up 1. Manny will exchange kills, and Manny will be taken down almost immediately by Frosty. He's got that sidekick as well for some quick damage should he need it, but SoulSnipe's coming off the respawn now, and he's going to be last player alive, trying to just move forward, cause some problems maybe. 4 Sentinels behind enemy lines, but the camo's up, and LethuL has the eyes.
LethuL trying to just get the info there, knew that he would not be able to just solo hero that, but gets the info he needs. And we see a camo grab on screen.
SoulSnipe going to be the player who picks it up, so maybe Pioneers can turn this power up into a power pull of that flag moving across the base, but It's going to be defensive plays that have to be made here for Pioneers. LethuL manages to land some damage with that heat wave as he falls. SoulSnipe going to make the choice, maybe to go for the return. Gets sniffed out momentarily, but the movement's pretty good from him, and that'll be very, very nicely done. As he almost baited the return himself with that camo. That'll be sent home now. Pioneers move up the map.
Nicely done indeed. Look at the way he played that. Pops in the return for just a second. Baits it, as you say, stays alive, grabs the heat wave as well. 5 minutes left. This one's far from over, but Pioneers needs to find the kills. They need to find them now.
They need to find a little bit more cohesion, like you were mentioning as well. Play 2 other lanes on the map, and the moment they kind of play in all 3, get a little bit split, and Sentinels are able to pick them off quite easily by just sending and flooding one side of the map. Touch going to come in here from Frosty. If he can get around this corner, there might be an opportunity to send this one home as well. Fortunately for him, just tried to maybe get a little bit too fancy with that one, trying to outplay, outsmart his opponent. The grenade takes him down. 3-4 for Sentinels.
Tried to maybe fake front base, then go bottom dynamos. In the end, he does get caught out. Tick, tick, tick. Goes those dynamos as well. Still 3 dead now for Sentinels.
3 dead for Sentinels. Return coming in. Flag being run here by Pioneers. And even though you would say Sentinels have been controlling the pace of this game, have been in command for the majority of it, the fact it's only 2 flags means the Pioneers have an opportunity here.
Wait.
I said 2 flags.
Did they send enough players back? Where's the cap? Here it comes in. Yes,
Pioneers making 1 flag.
Druk makes sure to come back with that flag. That is the golden rule. You come back with your flag carrier. And the hometown crowd very happy to see that's indeed what the Pioneers did. 4 minutes left. It's a 1 flag game.
4 minutes left. 3 dead for Sentinels. 1 flag might bring 2 here. Try and run this one bomb car as quickly as possible. LethuL there to slow things down. SoulSnipe, 16 and 16 for him. Manny, 18 kills as well. But the deaths kind of matching the amount of kills being picked up at the moment. Just shows a little bit too much hyper-aggression maybe coming in here from Pioneers.
It comes down to map management once again. That was 3 dead, flag being ran. Not only do they lose the flag run, they did not stay on top of camo when they had 3 dead. It's a lot to manage here on Aquarius CTF, and it seems so far Sentinels taking advantage of a little bit of gaps in the cohesion, as we said, on Pioneers.
Well, one man who's pretty much made this his home is going to be Royal2. Once again, inside of the Pioneers base, sees where the Pioneers team is as well, and decides to bait that flag out. LethuL is going to be there as well. So a little bit of almost a base trade here for both teams. Royal2 does have that heat wave to play with. Royal2 says, nothing happening here. I'm just going to start running this flag while I'm picking up some kills.
Ooh, right there, Manny's going to end it with maybe a team nade there based on how that played out on the kill feed. Surprising to see that. Druk's going to go for a pull as well. 2 dead for both sides.
Both players do fall as well. SnakeBite picked up the kill onto SoulSnipe, and Frosty did manage to finish off Druk. So SnakeBite now going to be trying to hit a little bit of a slide jump. Manny going to be slowing that one down as the flag will be sent home. So both flags back at the base here. 2 minutes and 30 odd seconds left for Pioneers here, just to string 1 more flag run together. If they can do that, we got a tie game. If Sentinels do it with this much time left on the clock, that might be enough for them to close the series out. That's
the question. Do the Pioneers have what it takes? Do they have the clutch factor with 2:20 left in the game to bring home another flag?
LethuL's going to shut down. One player on the top of the car is going to hit a beat down, and another one as well. So LethuL doing damage. Pioneers 3 dead. SoulSnipe, last player alive. And Royal2 is going to sniff him out. There's the beat down, and maybe Royal2 thinking about a run immediately.
There goes the run. Frosty's going to start it. Royal2 will anchor, and they're finding the pink spawns right away. 3 dead again. With less than 2 minutes left, this could be the end.
Overextension coming in from Druk here. He needs to pick up kills. He finds one onto Frosty. That was the flag carrier. Druk picks up 2. So Pioneers have got Druk to say thank you to keep this game going. But the flag's still moving here. LethuL's moving it in. Is there anyone from Pioneers to stop this run?
LethuL's going to go hero mode. Tries to slide in. He gets stopped at the doorstep.
Where are the spawns though? Manny flies in, gets the pull. SnakeBite's there though. He gets the touch. Massive moments here as he can jump on the return. The flag didn't jump out the window. And that's going to mean that Sentinels will go up 3-1. The heroics of Druk not enough to stop Sentinels, almost solidifying the series.
Somehow the flag toss doesn't leave the stand. It's heartbreaking. You'd think when that flag gets tossed, almost always it comes out of the top of the base. That could have played out completely different. However, we will now be 3-1. Less than 60 seconds left for Sentinels to close out the series.
Now, we've seen some crazy things. 60 seconds might not seem long, but Aquarius CTF, you can go back to back. Manny gets around this corner, then maybe, just maybe, there's enough time here for Pioneers to get back across the map, to get inside of the base, and maybe have an opportunity for one more grab. They've got to put this one home, though. You have to put the first pieces together.
Royal 2 with the Dynamo flank. Where's the spawner? Let's see who's spawning there. It's Taulek. He caps. 30 seconds left. All the pressure on Pioneers.
Only one direction to go now for Pioneers, and that is forward. W key, whatever you want to call it. They've got to get inside of that base. They've got to get that flag moving, and they need to put Sentinels under pressure.
2 dead for Sentinels. Here comes the pull for Taulek. It's going to be fridge side.
I love this.
Still 2 dead.
I love this. He's got support ping side. He runs that gen side. He is dead. 3 seconds left on the clock, but it doesn't matter. We're going into overtime. He will have one player to deal with. No, it's Frosty! And Frosty wins the battle.
Who's there for the touch?
SoulSnipe!
Flag is going to continue here. Royal 2, though, flying in. Manny versus Royal 2. Look at this duo here. Royal 2 and SnakeBite closing it out.
They've been doing it for years. They have the ice. They have the clutch factor. Royal 2 and SnakeBite combined once again in the endgame to give Sentinels the win, to send the flag back home. Aquarius CTF goes to Sentinels, and so does the series.
My God. What a series between these two. Tightly contested, hard fought. By the way, in the end, that'll be 94 kills for the side of Sentinels, 85 for Pioneers.
A great series. Maybe not the one that the locals wanted to see, the result, but Pioneers showing once again they're a team who probably do demand respect of some of the best in the world right now, and they will be certainly looking forward to a potential rematch a little bit later in the bracket against Sentinels if they do get that opportunity. But let's talk about Sentinels for a minute, because that looked like a Sentinels who's going to scare a lot of teams throughout this tournament.
Certainly, SnakeBite, as we take a look at the stats of what he was able to do in that game, led the team in assists, 14. Not only that, gets the double kill at the end on the Fridge side. How about Frosty staying alive? Fridge too. It feels like when we get to those late game moments, you cannot bet against the Sentinels players, right? Even though 30 seconds left, the flag's being run, they're 2 dead. They know how to find the way to get the clutch factor done, and they close out the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what they do, right? Sentinels just have the ice. They have that clutch factor. I know that when we talk about C9, Renegade said, I got the iciest players on my team. Well, I'm sure this Sentinels lineup would love to have something to say about that. And we've just seen on display once again why they win those close encounters, those big moments. It's not just Frosty doing the damage. He stays alive long enough for his teammates to move in and capitalize. They get the return. And talk about Royal 2, because this man made so many big plays for them.
28 and 15 were his final numbers in that game. They were essentially all from the back of the enemy's base. That's something Pioneers has to look at in the tape to make sure that doesn't happen the next time they face an opponent in those game types. You can't let Royal 2 run the back of your base, otherwise you will find yourself on the receiving end of a loss. 3-2 is your final score, and 3-1 overall in the series.
3-1 overall in the series. Sentinels, pretty dominant scoreline as well in the 3 games that they did win. The Aquarius CTF got a little bit scary towards the end. The Goosebumps maybe started to stand up a little bit more than they were just a few seconds before that cap went in, especially when that flag was running on the P side. But Sentinels get the job done. And I think they've shown me as well in the way they've just performed in that series that they are going to be a contender for sure here in KC.